The first big question a lot of people ask about book packaging is, of course, the elephant in the room. Do book packagers exploit writers? And some have, which is why packaging tends to have a little bit of a dicey reputation, as I mentioned in my previous video, because we have these companies like Full Fathom 5. Their contract was leaked, and so I read it back when the news broke, but asking students to write complete manuscripts for $500, right? And not share in any of the revenue upside. And then the company gets to sell that book for, let's say, $50,000, pocket most of the change. And even though the writer gets credit on the cover and they can add it as a feather to their cap, they don't necessarily participate in any of the stuff that pays the rent, right? The money, the royalties, any ancillary rights, film deal, film options, whatever the case may be. Now, with Bittersweet, my packaging company with John Cusick and Julie Murphy, we have looked across the board at what other packagers are offering, and our desire is always to beat or meet those terms, including revenue share. So sometimes we go in and partner with a certain percentage with the writer. When the book sells, they are entitled to that percentage. Sometimes we have paid a flat fee for the proposal, not the complete manuscript. So far, we've sold everything on proposal except for one project where the writer really loved the book and wanted to write the whole thing, in which case they were paid a flat fee. So where the misconception comes from with book packagers being exploitative is that writers think that a packager is going to sort of come take them for this ride that they did not necessarily sign up for. And that has historically happened. I'm not going to deny it. Some writers have no idea what they're signing up for. They get a contract to write a book. It's really exciting, but they don't necessarily understand the long-term ramifications of what they are participating in. So the misconception, I think, comes from the fact that the writers that we have worked with almost exclusively have come to us saying, I want to do work for hire. It is not instead of their own work. It is a complement to their own work. It is maybe their desire to go into a different genre or write for a different audience than they're known for. A lot of our writers are already published traditionally or indie published. They want something where they have not yet broken out and they want to hitch their wagon to a premise that appeals to them, that we have sometimes crafted specifically for them or with them in mind, because they believe that the collaborative model is going to result in a manuscript that is maybe more commercial, maybe a little bit bigger than what they can think of themselves. That's not to say they aren't also thinking about the book of their heart, working on it over here. There's nothing happening in a book packaging relationship, at least with Bittersweet, that precludes them from also pursuing their own work. But a writer for hire will show up understanding that it is a for hire project, that there are certain terms that they will share in the eventual sale of the manuscript, as well as royalties, ancillary rights, according to our very, very comprehensive engagement agreement. But they also want kind of, I wouldn't say sure thing, right? Because nothing is ever sure in publishing, but we did submit 5 projects in 2024. We ended up selling all 5 of them. And so there are writers who, in between their own creative projects, they like the sound of that. They like those odds, and they understand that this is a business partnership and a transactional relationship. I think people have this misconception of, I bring a packager the book of my heart, they take credit for it, they take most of the revenue from selling that project, and I have to write it for a bargain basement fee. We don't ask for people's projects of the heart, right? They are always going to be working along parallel lines on whatever it is that they want. But if we are going to collaborate on a packaged project where we do a lot of the legwork in creating, originating, and developing the idea, including a rigorous outline that usually goes out with a writing sample when we go on submission, that is the partnership. That is where Bittersweet individually earns its share of the pie, but it is done in collaboration with the writer. So we're not interested in shoving an idea at a writer that they don't resonate with. For example, we're not interested in taking somebody's original idea and running with it unless they specifically say, hey, there's this thing, I've been waiting to crack it, I just can't figure out how all the pieces fit together. Can we develop this together? In which case it is a work for hire collaboration agreement type of relationship. Since Julie is an author and since her vast network is full of authors, we are trying to be one of the most transparent, author-led, author-friendly, author platforming packaging companies out there. And this may sound like I am drinking the Kool-Aid or trying to sell you a line. I can't speak for bad behavior from other book packagers, but I know from firsthand experience that there is another way to do it, and we are proud to be leading the way down that path and into the light of book packaging 2.0.